80s में रामानंद सागर से रामायण के लिए इंटरेस्ट शुरू हुआ था. And since then we have not looked back. So many permutations, you have also written so eloquently about, both the epics. What makes these epics so absolute timeless and relevant and everyone is able to relate to them?
Let me give an example of, since you are associated with Myntra. So I buy a shirt. And why do I buy shirts? I buy shirts at the very level शरीर को ढकने के लिए, just to cover the body. It's a very fundamental level. Second is to protect my body from weather conditions. Third, I want to look good. Fourth is brand. I can tell my friends I have something that they don't have. Rarity. So khadi wala mein kharidu, handloom kharidu. It's all branding, positioning. Ramayana is something like that. We have to ask ourselves, why do we like Ramayana? Is it branding and positioning? कि देखो मैं इंडियन हूँ, मुझे रामायण पता है, my book is better than your book. Or is it because you've understood that helps you cover your body better? It's smarter, healthier. How do you look at Ramayana? So most people look at it as chauvinism, cultural chauvinism. हमारा culture greater है. And I keep asking, अच्छा तो रामायण में क्या सीख मिली? It's my favorite example. एक समय था, एक राजा था जिसकी 3 पत्नियां थी. Because there's family values. I give the sentence and they go, नहीं वो पार्ट नहीं. ऐसा कौन सा पार्ट बोल रहे हो आप? बस पहला तो ये से शुरू होता है. एक राजा था जिसकी 3 पत्नियां थी. And then the room just goes quiet because they want to tell children, आप बच्चों को पढ़ाओ. ऐसे बच्चों को ये पढ़ाओगे? And then they get very nervous. They get very, sir, Devdutt, you are very controversial. I said, क्या controversial? मैंने तो वही बताया जो रामायण में लिखा हुआ है. I said, you are getting a cultural kick out of it, that this is my culture. Then there are people who use it as, for time pass, chai coffee conversations ki Ravan अच्छा था, Ram अच्छा था, this one good. A lawyer-judge conversation. But you have to ask yourself, why was Ramayana composed? When was it written? What was the purpose? Then you'll realize that these Ramayana and Mahabharata were 2 epics that were created between the 3rd century BC and 300 AD. It was the manual of kings. So if you want to be a Raja, let's say a king is ruling and he's got 10 children, he will tell those children, just Panchatantra hota hai, you teach Ramayana and Mahabharata to discuss so you understand what makes a great king. तुम्हें रावण बनना है, तुम्हें दुर्योधन बनना है, तुम्हें राम बनना है. Why did Bharat do what he did? And you start asking these questions. When you start asking these questions, your mind evolves, neural networks are formed. You start thinking about Ram किसके लिए कहा? Actually, Ram का ambition क्या था? I asked this question to somebody. Ram का ambition क्या था? And there's no answer. I said, why is Ram king? They बहुत अच्छे थे. I said, merit? They'll say, हाँ. I said, no, it's because he was the eldest son. There was no merit. Because सूर्य वंश में जो भी बड़ा लड़का होता है, वो राजा बनता है. So it was a just accident. And then they're quiet in the room. I said, देखो, you are asking me to teach you Ramayana, but when I start asking you difficult questions, you are just sitting there. I've read the Ramayana 10,000 times, but you're not answering these questions. But that is how you understand Ramayana. You ask questions, you ask fundamental questions. They'll always tell me, Devdutt, तो सीता को त्याग क्यों किया था? I said, पहले मेरे को ये बताओ ना, वो राजा क्यों थे? Like, how did he become? It's not merit. It's pure chance accident. So, you can't answer this question, but you want me to answer this question. See, this is the thing. We are looking for answers because we think it's about Ramayana. It's not about Ramayana. It's about our life. When the Ramayana, it's an investment. I read Ramayana as an investment to be a better person.
Right.
Not to tell people कि देखो ये branded shirt पहले खरीदा है.
So your point is that people can, Ramayana is obviously very colorful story. There are a lot of characters, a lot of nuances. कि आप उसको पढ़ो और सोचो उसके बारे में.
और 2000 साल से भारत में ये चल रहा है. It's at the conservative estimates for 2000 years. Every king in India, see in the old days they didn't have the management. Every king in India would read the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. These 2 epics. The oldest temples have these images. Why? Not the Panchatantra, not the Jatakas. They were also from India. Hitopadesha. None of them were part of temple literature. None of them were part of royal literature. Only Ramayana and Mahabharata was part of every king, whether it's Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas, Cholas, Gajapati. You tell me the name of the historical king, he would talk Ram, Tapasvi Raja, Raja Rishi. Everywhere this word is being used. They're talking about kings. Like Europe has King Arthur. When you go to Middle Eastern countries, they'll talk about Suleiman. तो ऐसे सुलेमान का मतलब क्या है? दाऊद का मतलब क्या है? So when you go to Middle East, I will not tell Ram. I'll not, because they won't understand. But the moment I'll say Suleiman, they'll like, we understand what you're meaning. So I had an American audience the other day. I said Suleiman or Saul. So my friend said Solomon or Saul. And my Indian colleagues were like, what were you talking about? We didn't understand. I said, but they understood, no? Ye audience ko kuch alag bhasha bolni padti hai. So we have to ask ourselves, why are we looking at the shirt? Let me go back to the shirt metaphor. Brand kharid rahe ho ya mujhe comfortable clothes chahiye so as I can be more productive in my life? So we have to ask why we are buying. And for me, that's very important. The ROI concept I use everywhere.
But since, you have studied these things very closely, a lot of nuances, it's probably given that you have yourself asked these questions, what is your, overall take from, what does this literature, I mean, they were, obviously, you're saying that kings used to understand, what does it mean to manage a large kingdom, what are nuances, what are relationship, inheritance and so on. A lot of complicated issues are dealt in the story format, and it was useful to kings then. Today, when somebody reads it, someone who's really genuine, is willing to ask these questions, what should be their motivation?
Things, right? See, the problems of life have not changed. Technology has changed. Problems have not changed. अभी भी भाइयों के बीच में लड़ाई होती है, right? Even today, बंटवारा के ऊपर, go to any court in India, go to the richest families in India, business property disputes are happening. Now let us look at it. You read the Bible, Cain and Abel, property dispute. Isaac and Esau, property dispute. Everywhere when you read the stories, in Ramayana, it's Ramayana, Kurukshetra, Pandav, Kaurav. So basically these books are talking about those fundamental, primal human issues, which just because you have $1 million in your bank or you have the best cell phone will go. No, jealousy won't go away. I mean, I keep giving this joke in my lectures that Elon Musk cannot create an app that reduces jealousy. Right? Apple can create a technology that will say that don't look into people's eyes, look into my eyes. So that's what Apple, we are creating technologies but they cannot say that, hey, I will create a technology that will make you less jealous, which will make you more content, which will make you less angry. Yet we have not figured that technology out, and we don't think that's a battle worth pursuing.
And last few thousand years, and you're absolutely right, human nature has not changed, whether you look at ancient Greek philosophy or Indian philosophy.
It's the dead rat, no? Bhook to lagi hai. Market is about hunger. If you're not hungry, you won't buy a product. You will never ever, if you want to be an entrepreneur and you say, I don't bother about hunger, then you'll never succeed because you don't understand that when you're hiring people, you're offering them something, right? Unko bhook lagi hai. That's why they're joining you.
So it's fair to say genius of these epics is that they truly understood human nature and able to translate into highly relatable stories, which are timeless, which is continued to, and every generation people are able to relate to.
Yeah. So the story, it's also longevity. Longevity includes that every generation found it valuable. You will not sustain something which has no value to you. So it's just a question of longevity. Why does some stories don't survive? Some songs are so popular when you were a young man, there were songs that were super popular, forgotten. Films forgotten, stories forgotten, because they're not relevant anymore. You don't realize who was the richest man in India 500 years ago. But Ramayana, Mahabharata. I mean, there were people, there is this very famous banker called Virji Vora, who was like 8 million pounds 400 years ago, when he was banker to the East India Company, to the Mughal Empire. How many people know him?
Never heard of him.
Richest man in the world. Indian. Virji Vora.
500 years ago.
500 years ago, in Mughal times. When the East India Company was just entering the market, they said the richest man in Surat, I think it's in Surat or Ahmedabad. I don't know, if you do a Wikipedia search, you'll find out about him. But I have to do a Wikipedia search to find out about him. But for Ramayana and Mahabharata, it just keeps coming to me everywhere.
Right.
So we're still interested in Ramayana and Mahabharata, but we're not interested in Virji Vora, because the story of Ramayana and Mahabharata is giving us something that the wealth of this richest man